this is Sergio Mialnichenko with the Brazilian Hour. I would like to invite you to join me every week with the best and most exciting music of Brazil. Every week, right here.
Tune in the Brazilian Hour every Saturday night at 11 on KSJE Farmington.
On the Media is all about print, broadcast, and the internet.
And civil liberties, we do a lot on that.
The show is about technological utopia and creepy dystopia.
Law and lawbreakers.
Blowhards and liars.
Mainly, though, On the Media is about an hour. Please spend it with us.
Saturday mornings at 7 on KSJE Farmington.
Thane Maynard here. The 90-Second Naturalist is a compact little radio show with expansive goals to raise awareness and improve understanding of the natural world. To do this, we take just 90 seconds and present stories about the plants and animals around us. The facts are fun, the sound effects are neat, and the host ain't so bad either. Please join me for the 90-Second Naturalist.
Listen every weekday afternoon during the KSJE Evening News at 5:30. This program is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, who's expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings all year round, now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, is available in Farmington at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street. Also in Aztec at San Juan Health Partners Family Medicine at 120 Llanos Street. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. (8:33). It's Tuesday morning here at KSJE at San Juan College. Good morning to our viewers who are watching us live this morning on Facebook and YouTube. 23 degrees outside our studios here at San Juan College. Winds are out of the east at 5 miles per hour. And our forecast does call for a partly cloudy day today. Partly sunny skies, 48 for a high this afternoon. Partly cloudy overnight tonight with a low of 21. A bit warmer tomorrow with a high of 53. And then a chance of rain or snow showers on Thursday. The high 53, the low 33. More chances for rain on Friday and cooler. High 43 and only getting up to 40 on Saturday with a chance of rain or snow showers as well. You can see the next several days there. That is the forecast. And overnight lows, again, in the 30s and 20s. My guest on the radio this morning, James Olivas, is here. He is the Director of Operations with the Bloomfield School District, and we are talking about school security and safety at Bloomfield Schools. And again, Mr. Olivas, thanks for being here.
Oh, no problem.
Appreciate you coming in. And before the break, we were talking a little bit about this new app that is being made available to students and teachers and staff and parents, anybody really, at Bloomfield Schools and other school districts around San Juan County. And it's a reporting app, anonymous reporting app, right, that lets anybody kind of talk to someone about, or text someone or message someone about what they feel that they're hearing about, that they're concerned about, right?
Exactly. It's an app out of the Sandy Hook Promise organization. Thanks to Kirk Carpenter and Aztec Schools for pioneering that for the county. But yes, it's a reporting app that can be used virtually by anyone, anonymous. Tonight is our kickoff for parents. It's a parent meeting tonight. We'll have a trainer there from the See Something, Say Something. It's at 6 o'clock at the Bloomfield High School Theater.
Okay.
That's where parents can learn about the app and what's its purpose and how to use it. So we're really excited to get it on board. We wish we could have done it a lot sooner. It's just a real positive thing. Earlier we were talking about how students can be empowered to report something that they see. So this is amazing, and we're looking forward to using it. And
it's free to use. It's free to the district, I think, as far as I understand it. And so, I mean, it's got everything going for it. It seems like it clicks off a lot of boxes for a concern like some folks might have about security and safety. Right.
I mean, when you're looking at putting processes or programs in place, the one thing that always comes, or might even be a game stopper, is the funding. And when we learned about that this is a free program and virtually has an amazing opportunity to, make things a lot safer. It was a dream too good to be true. You're still waiting for the cost, but there's no cost. We haven't paid anything to be a part of this program. Kids can report using their cell phones. They can call in, or they can actually even use their computers and go to the website and report something.
Got it. And the idea that, at least my understanding is that at the other end of that report are trained individuals. It's not located in Bloomfield or Aztec or Farmington. It is a national kind of a center where when these reports and these texts or messages, phone calls come in, they're routed to the appropriate person, and then they can again be sent off back to the district or to law enforcement or whatever the case may be, depending on what's being reported. Isn't that the idea?
Exactly. So they have that control center, especially if there are life-type situations, life safety situations. They go to their trained personnel from the organization. Other things are prioritized, and like you said, they're sent out to authorities. Even if we were to get a tip, we can actually share that tip with a different district. So we actually have the capacity to share a tip with any school that's within that program, and which is nice because then we can transfer information. We can transfer the tip that was given, if there was any attachments that were sent, if there was a photo that was sent, and we can have that cross communication and then make a bigger safety net, if you will.
Sure. And sometimes we hear the stories about teens and maybe they're considering harming themselves or those types of situations. Again, there are trained counselors, I believe, accessible to us, even if a student calls on his or her own, and they can talk directly with a trained counselor at that moment. It doesn't delay anything, as far as I understand.
And that is correct. They can call, and they'll connect them with a counselor online and hopefully talk them out of that decision. I mean, that should never be the decision to remedy anything, but yes, you're right. They can talk to a trained professional.
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
365.
365.
It's amazing. It's again a great resource. You're having a kickoff meeting tonight at Bloomfield High School.
That's right. Tonight, 6 o'clock, BHS Theater.
Okay, and parents can find out more. But again, it is a free app that's available for iPhones and Android phones and what have you, that folks can find at the App Store or wherever, right?
That is correct. And tonight we're going to put up posters so as the parents go in or students go in, they can just use their QR code reader and then it'll direct them straight to the app site to download, or they can scan in the website and put it into their favorites. So we really want them to be able to connect at any time. If they see something, they say something, or if there's a need that they need, they can report that as well.
Can't be any easier than that.
I hope not.
Pointing your phone at a code and downloading it. So there you go.
Yep.
Great. Some of the other things I wanted to ask you about, too, is the training component of some of the safety and security topics that we're talking about this morning, because you can certainly have a lot of physical safety improvements at your buildings and things like that, but if your staff doesn't really know how to react or how to call law enforcement or when's the right time to call folks or what have you, the training is a really important component of this, right?
Right. Good training, it's better to be proactive than reactive. I mean, and so to be proactive, you have to have the staff trained appropriately. We took advantage of Palms and Associates. They did a risk assessment, security, safe school training. It was active shooter training. Where it was mainly size. We didn't go through any exercises or whatnot. We also did a risk assessment where we had Mr. Jim Vautier. He's a big guy. He's like, I want to say 7 feet big.
Wow.
And we try to get him to access a school. We try to get access to high school. So we're trying to, widen the horizon of what people can see, so that they can see how people can access your building, or what habits that we need to change so that people don't access our buildings.
Sure.
So that training, we extended it to teachers, to cooks, to maintenance workers. We're going to also do a training with our bus drivers as well. So, we're more proactive than reactive.
Right. And many times it seems to me bringing people in from the outside with a fresh set of eyes, they can maybe see something that those of us that are that are walking through the same hallways every day maybe have overlooked because it's just become so familiar to us.
Right, and we did that. So with Palms and Associates, we did actually a risk and threat assessment and at all of our sites because, like you say, if you're there every day, you become complacent, and some things don't pop out at you. So with a third party coming out and looking at all of our sites in every aspect and saying, hey, you want to consider this, and hey, you want to consider that, we can make better decisions, informed decisions. That was kind of like one of the pushes in one of the buildings that we did, where we actually moved the office, the location where it was from in the center of the school to the outside wing of the school, and then we controlled access better that way into the building. So
right,
yeah, taking recommendations from people who know what they're doing.
That makes a lot of sense. James Olivas is my guest this morning. He is the Director of Operations for the Bloomfield School District. We're talking about school safety and school security this morning. And I want to ask you another question about what's on your wish list. What are the things that maybe you're moving toward or would like to see happening at Bloomfield Schools in addition to the work that you've already completed? What's next?
Well, I like your idea of a blank check, but unfortunately I know I'm not going to get that.
Probably not.
My wish list, I think what it starts off with, even before I get to items, would be how we can change the funding so that schools get security money. It's a new thing that's needed, and that way all school districts can have that security money to make their schools safer, and not be this application process, and it not be a grant, like, if you will, like where you have to apply and hopefully you get it. It's just something that through New Mexico Pay we can actually figure that out. Good
right.
legislation.
And certainly we have the legislative sessions happening next year. There are some additional monies that I know a lot of folks are looking at. But your idea is there was money made available this past legislative session, but that was an application or by grant.
Right, it was an
funding
application
and more competitive, I suppose, among districts.
Yeah, it was more competitive among districts, and then even when we were in that process, they had told us, well, we're gonna we being the funding authority was going to be providing that funds to schools of higher need. So how do you express higher need? It's kind of like
right.
How do you measure the displacement of water, accurately? So the thing is, if we can come up with a funding formula that funds all school districts and provide security monies, then it gives us that level of, okay, we know we have this money, and then we can work with it appropriately and then come up with ways to secure our schools, rather than, okay, we're going to have to apply for it, hope that you get it, and then what's the backup plan if you don't? So it makes life a little bit easier that way, I think.
Sure, right. So that's one thing. But again, but Bloomfield Schools have kind of paid for the improvements we've talked about already out of it's just general fund, I suppose. Is that where the money came from?
Right. So a lot of what we've done, well, everything that we've done has come out of our capital funds money.
I see.
And so what we've done is we reached it within two school funding years. And then but within that year's time, we were able to do all the projects we have. But like I said, that money burns quickly, especially when you're talking security, when you're talking technology, when you're talking infrastructure, when you're talking, big items. That money goes really fast. And so, if we had a little more money support, that'd be phenomenal, because then we could do a lot more.
Right. And so, as I go back to my question about the wish list, would you like to see more key card access doors? Would you like to see more maybe surveillance cameras, or what types of issues or items do you think could be needed at some of your schools?
So, like we had mentioned earlier, the schools built back in the 80s, those, even if schools built back 10, 12 years ago, security needs are different. Things that I would love to be doing in the immediate would be adding more of those entry vestibules. Those are, I've saved the biggest projects for last because I can't afford all those big projects at once.
Sure.
So security vestibules would be an area that I would love to do. Requires redesign, requires construction, but then on top of that, I would also like to add, like you said, some more of the keycard access systems, upgrading our software systems that control that gives us different options on when we can access doors and when we cannot access doors. I also would like to upgrade our intercom systems so that they are more usable in different scenarios, that they are connectable to our walkie-talkie radios.
And I've heard that the communication is so important in times of an emergency, to be able to have your staff talk to each other, talk to law enforcement, and some of these radios are compatible and can get you right to the dispatch center and things like that. Is that some things that you're talking about?
Right. So we do have a radio system where we can interconnect with police. We also have an emergency repeater system that we use with our radio systems. We actually we work with Ben McGahey from the Farmington Police.
He's now on your staff, right? He's now part of the district, right?
Not a part of our district.
Oh, pardon me.
He works with us.
Okay.
Yeah. He right now we're putting up not repeater system, but radio base stations with his help.
Okay.
He has really done a good service to us in setting up that radio system. I mean, we can connect to our school site, which is furthest away from us from admin, which is about 12, 15 miles away, and it came in crystal clear when we did a radio check yesterday. So, you know, that was comforting.
Right.
But expanding that system even further would be nice.
Because you don't want to rely on cell phones, I suppose, in times of an emergency, because as we have seen, even when there's a fire or something, those cell phone networks get overloaded and go down, and then what are you doing if you're trying to talk about an emergency at your school?
Right.
So you need those radios. There's a separate system, right, that it doesn't rely on the cell phones. That's the idea.
Right. It's a totally separate system that does not rely on a cell phone. And the nice thing, like I said, we can directly communicate with one another in district. We can also connect right into the 911 dispatch. The one thing that I saw at Aztec schools, they have their intercoms connect right to the radio, so you can actually transmit from your radio into the intercom system with the school.
The PA, right?
With the
going
PA
through
system.
the buildings. Nice.
So again, Ben McGahey, he showed us that option, and that's something we definitely would like to pursue. But again, you need money to make that happen.
Exactly. But you've got someone at least that knows how to do it when you can afford to pay for it. So that's nice to know. So those are some of the things on your list, it sounds like.
Yes, definitely.
Your wish list. But your message, and we just have a couple of minutes remaining this morning, Mr. Olivas, is that for parents of students that are going to Bloomfield schools, that every school is safe. You take security seriously. And what would your message be to parents who are listening and watching us this morning?
I think my message is that we are taking good steps into making our schools safe. We're putting money into making schools and students safe. I know change is difficult, but we appreciate the patience and flexibility that they've displayed, because making systems like that work takes an entire community to make it work. And so we're just very grateful that everyone is adjusting to the change and helping make things safe, and really even learning that their voice can empower them to help keep things safe. But if they see something, say something, and hopefully we can make more positive strides in that safety aspect.
Very good. And again, the final note, I think, would be that this meeting tonight about the See Something, Say Something program and app is happening 6 o'clock at the Bloomfield High School Theater.
Yes, be there.
All right. Very good. James Olivas, thanks for coming in this morning.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Director of Operations at the Bloomfield School District, my guest here on KSJE. I'll be back with more in just a moment today, everyone. The time is coming up on 8:50.